Getting a divorce without a lawyer is common in California, and the state court system is built to allow it. A meaningful share of California divorce cases are filed by spouses representing themselves, without an attorney handling the case, a status the courts call self-represented, or appearing in propria persona, often shortened to pro per. This video covers when self-representation is common, what the court itself provides for people doing it, what a document preparation service does compared to a lawyer, and when people going through a divorce typically bring one in. Self-representation is most common in cases where both spouses already agree on the outcome. When two spouses agree on ending the marriage, on how property and debts will be divided, and on custody, parenting time, and support if there are children, there is often nothing left for a judge to actually decide between them. The forms still have to be filled out correctly and filed in the right order, and the same waiting period and court review still apply, but there is no dispute for an attorney to argue on either side. California's own forms do not use the word uncontested, but that is functionally what this describes: an agreed case, rather than one where the court has to resolve disagreement between the spouses. Self-representation also happens in cases that start out with some disagreement, simply because hiring an attorney is not something one or both spouses can afford to take on. Family law cases in California see a high rate of at least one side appearing without an attorney, which is part of why the court system maintains the resources described next, rather than assuming every filer has one. How common is it, exactly? Common enough that California built a statewide self-help infrastructure, with a self-help center in every superior court, specifically for people handling family law cases without an attorney. California's court system provides real, free support for people representing themselves, though it is limited in a specific and important way. Every county operates a self-help center, staffed by court employees, where you can get the correct forms for your situation, instructions for filling them out, and information about local filing procedures and deadlines. Many self-help centers also run workshops or have a family law facilitator available, a court employee with specific training in family law procedure who can answer procedural questions. The statewide self-help website at courts.ca.gov and its Spanish-language counterpart, sucourt.ca.gov, cover the same ground online. The forms themselves, general instructions for each one, and explanations of what happens at each stage of a divorce case, all free to use. Self-help center services typically include reviewing paperwork for obvious errors, like a missing signature or an unanswered required field, explaining court procedures such as how and where to file, and providing referrals to other resources, including local legal aid organizations for people who may need more help than the self-help center itself can give. Some centers also offer document review appointments, though scheduling and exact services differ by county. Beyond the court's own self-help center, some California counties also have nonprofit legal aid organizations and law school family law clinics that provide free or reduced-cost help to people who qualify based on income, generally offering a level of individualized guidance the self-help center itself cannot. Availability, income limits, and the specific services offered vary by organization and by county. What self-help center staff cannot do is tell you what to put in your own forms. They can point you to the correct form for your situation and explain in general terms what a question on it is asking, but they are not allowed to tell you how to answer that question for your specific circumstances, recommend a legal strategy, or tell you what to ask the court for. That line exists because providing that kind of individualized guidance is considered practicing law, and self-help center staff, while knowledgeable about the forms and the process, are not acting as your attorney and are not permitted to act as one. A document preparation service like Virdix sits in a specific place in this picture, distinct from both the self-help center and a lawyer's office. It asks about your situation, your marriage, your children, and how things stand with your spouse, all in plain language, and you answer in your own words. From your answers, it fills out the actual California court forms your case calls for and lays out the overall process so you can see each step coming. What it does not do is tell you what to answer, recommend a legal strategy, negotiate with your spouse on your behalf, or represent you in any court hearing. It automates the mechanical work of turning your own answers into correctly completed paperwork. It does not replace legal judgment about the specific facts of your case, because that judgment has to come from you or from an attorney you retain. A lawyer's role is different in kind, not simply a more expensive version of the same thing. A licensed attorney can review the specific facts of your situation and advise you on what to do about them, communicate and negotiate directly with your spouse or their attorney, appear at hearings and make arguments on your behalf, and take a position in a dispute when one exists. None of that is something a document preparation service does. The forms a document preparation service produces are the same forms a lawyer's office would ultimately file, but the judgment about what belongs in them, when there is a real decision to make, stays with you unless you have engaged an attorney to make it for you. Even among people who start out representing themselves, there are recurring situations where consulting an attorney is common. Cases involving a significant, unresolved dispute over custody or parenting time, where the spouses cannot reach agreement and the disagreement is heading toward a contested hearing, are one example. Cases involving complex assets, such as a business, real estate beyond a primary home, or retirement accounts that require formal valuation or division by a separate court order, are another, since these often call for financial and legal expertise beyond what the standard forms alone provide. Cases where the other spouse has already retained an attorney and the matter has become contested are a third, since responding to formal legal filings and arguments becomes considerably harder without legal training once one side is represented and the other is not. For any of these situations, or simply for advice about your own specific circumstances, a licensed California family law attorney is the resource to talk to. A document preparation service is built for a different job and is not a substitute for that advice. Cost is often part of this decision too. A document preparation service, including Virdix, typically charges a flat fee, generally a few $100s, for a complete set of prepared forms. A lawyer's fees for a fully attorney-handled case are typically billed by the hour or through a larger flat fee that reflects ongoing representation, and commonly costs substantially more than document preparation alone, often running well into the thousands of dollars, particularly if the case is contested and requires multiple hearings. Neither figure is fixed. Both vary by the specific case and, for attorneys, by the individual firm. Virdix is a document preparation service, not a law firm, and this is not legal advice. But for a case both spouses already agree on, or for turning agreed terms into the paperwork the court requires, it is built specifically for self-represented filing, the same category of filing California's own court system supports through its self-help centers. You can find it at virdix.co.